The format of tonight's meeting is to have a guest speaker share their experience, strength and hope on how the Alcoholics Anonymous program of recovery is working in their lives for 15 to 20 minutes. Tonight we have asked ROHAN to share.
Thanks, Dan. Good to see you. My name's ROHAN, I'm an alcoholic. Gratefully sober and very blown away really to come back to share at the Melbourne men's group. And I reckon I want to start off by saying how much of a fan I am of the men's group. It's been a huge part of my recovery to be part of, you know, a regular men's meeting that I've actually, that's really, I guess, connected me and taken away a lot of, you know, looking around the room, rubbernecking. You know, I think that's what happens for me when I go to a mixed meeting. So I guess I've been able to sit in a room and listen to the messages from the guys who know a little bit more than me and maybe implement that into my life. So that being said, you know, I've got a sobriety date. I'm coming up to 5 years next month. My sobriety is the 30th of Jan 08 and my home group's the deal. Another men's group. Look, I know, I don't want to colour over. Look, I guess I could say my history is one of those, it's a long, drawn-out affair. You know, I've got, I guess, over 30 years of a career in drinking and drugging. You know, for the first 10 or 15, alcohol was a huge part of that story. But it wasn't only alcohol that did it for me. So I guess I found myself using other substances that gave me the same effect that alcohol initially gave me in those early years. You know, a good night for me was going to sleep in the corner. I wasn't one of those electrified guys that ran around. So I looked for sedative type affairs. So I didn't want to participate in anything that life offered in a lot of ways. I just wanted to get stoned, get smashed and go to sleep. And I can wind the clock through decades of that, you know, in and out of tough times where I found myself in rehabs and whatnot, and this was often on offer. So, yeah, without going through all those decades of that, it was just a repeating, you know, Groundhog Day of where was that next drink or drug coming from, you know, with minimal moments of sobriety, you know. And those minimal moments were just awful. I couldn't stand myself in those days getting sober and then having to come to terms with my body, you know, and just that enormity of just what was left there. Not much at all, just this emptiness, you know. So I could just wind the clock back a little bit. And, you know, the last 10 years, I guess I've been having a crack, you know. Things got flattened enough for me to be committed enough to, you know, the marriage triggered it off, I suppose. The marriage went and forced me into a commitment of coming to regular meetings and following my wife at the time into the rooms, in fact, because I was so scared of, I guess, her leaving me and being left alone, you know, which seemed to plague me. If I was to colour up what my drinking and drugging, it was just this awful sense of emptiness or loneness, and I just had to feed it with something to take it away. So when I got those moments of being, you know, sober, it was just that empty feeling, you know. It was awful. So anyway, my marriage drove me to the rooms. I got a couple of years up. I was just really still pissed off about her leaving me. She found someone else quite soon in the rooms and went on a happy and merry way. I got a couple of years up. I became committed to do meetings and got some sense of sobriety up. I amazed myself by staying clean and sober through that tough period. It was more about the issues of losing somebody than obsessing over where that next drink. I lost the obsession early enough in that crack, and it was just dealing with that abandonment I felt, you know. So the couple of years for me in that period were quite difficult, very tough period. And I did regular meetings. I had a crack with this and drifted in and out of both shows actually, NA and AA. You know, and I think I didn't complete the steps. I think I got to about 6 or 7. got diagnosed with cancer and spent the next year dealing with that, you know, going through that sort of tough period of chemo, and went back out there again, majorly. Got addicted to the pain medication, and it sent me into a complete spiral. Now I share that because it even took me further down, and I got to a place where the jumping off point that we hear people share about, that I gave up hope. I thought, fuck you, God. I had a crack here, and here I am back here again. You know, and I just came so close to giving it away. I thought, bugger this. You know, I gave it a good crack, and I couldn't even hang on to it, and I got sick, and I'm back out there again, and I couldn't find my way back into the rooms, in and out of detoxes, and it wasn't happening. Anyway, that was that year. I just want to paint over the place I got to, and then from there I ended up going through the motions of going to detox. Ended up in a rehab, which was a 12-step rehab that started me on this the path again. You know what I mean? So it kind of gave me mate, I was gutted. To say that I was gutted coming in, I was absolutely shot. And I think I needed a place like a rehab that I could actually use that sort of nurturing in a close environment to kind of get well enough to commit to doing the work, you know. So that's the story coming in, and from there, I guess after 11 months in rehab, I left rehab and found myself coming back to Melbourne, and I found myself in the deal, in fact. And I guess since doing that, you know, I've been a regular member there. I've showed up to their meetings and I've gone on their campouts. I've had sponsorship there. And I've been able to work through the steps, through the direction of the sponsors that I've had. I've had a couple of sponsors there. And I guess, you know, we've got to look at, you know, I always look at others, how well they're getting, and how difficult it is for me getting sober, and how tough bumbling away, how tough I still find dealing with fear, you know, the fear of showing up and being part of this group or turning up to meetings. I thought, you know, I'm still poisoned with that, you know, and I wonder, you know, why isn't it shifting as quick as some? But I must say to you, in all honesty, you know, the places that I've come from to where I'm today, the reality is it is shifting. You know, today I work in a job where I've been there 3 years. I've got regular contact with my daughter. I still show up to meet. I still struggle, and I know I heard it the other night at a meeting talking about how difficult it is to not run away. You know, to be there after the meeting is still really tough for me. You know, what's that say? That I'm still caught up in my head. Why aren't you, you know, why isn't the world whatever? I don't know. So I've had you know, I'm just painting the picture of what's happened for me in nearly 5 years, you know, coming up. That I guess it's been a slow coming to believe. You know, I think Bill talks about that, you know, we just get, some of us have a rather quick awakening of the spirit, but some of us need to be, you know, it just needs to be slowly drawn out of me, you know, and I think that's my experience with this show. You know, I still, you know, my drill today, and I've only just started the last year implementing prayer and meditation. I've struggled with that step, the 11th step. But today, you know, I've incorporated with a morning drill to get up and put on a meditation tape. What does that say? That I've really struggled being able to sit still. And you know, I've been around a few years. You would think this guy would be okay with it. It's been really slow coming. I pray today, and I've used some of we've got a couple of prayer books that we use in the deal. And and I guess the last couple of years that I've shifted about for what I need, so much more about what I can bring, you know. And I put those prayers into my action today, that I try and think about others. I mightn't hang on to it, but I certainly start the day with prayers of that, to that effect. You know, God, make me a servant of thy will. Help me to bring patience, tolerance, kindness, whatever. Try and make a difference today. You know, instead of worrying about my stuff, try and get into action out there and allow my stuff to sort itself out. You know, I think that's what the program's teaching me. That if I put the actions in of showing up and being accountable and standing up when someone puts the number on me, that my life grows because of that. You know, not because it happens at the instance I want it to, but I think, you know, trying to work the 6 and 7, those not commandments, what are we talking? No, I'm talking the principles. To implement those principles into my life. That's a shift. That's a spiritual shift for me. Because I was such a I cannot tell you what my life was like for 30 years. Man, I'm telling you. It was the same thing every day. And I didn't care where I got it. And, you know, I'm not proud of what I did. There was a lot of amends to make in the way of my family. You know, what I did to Mum and Dad. They never saw me clean up, but there was a lot of amends there. Look, what I'm trying to share, it's been a slow awakening. The steps today are, I'm trying to implement that stuff into my life. You know, I'm not the best guy that can strip off the book, chapter, verses, page 67, you know, all that. I love guys that can do that. But I do really enjoy the book studies, and I enjoy working with others. You know, the few times that I've had sponsees, I think I've learnt more about the book in those processes than I ever did. So I guess what I'm sharing there is that I really understand this process of of helping someone else to retain what I've got, because I think it just reinforces this whole thing. Because I'm quick to forget. I'm one of these guys that can walk out of here and life smacks me in the face and I revert to type. I want it now. You know, I can be nasty, I can be rude, I can do side comments. You know, what do we call it? At work, talking about someone else to someone else. Yeah, you know, whatever. I did that, in fact, yesterday, and I wasn't proud about it. But I've got a conscience today that tells me when that stuff happens. I had to front in this morning and say, listen, I wasn't happy about what I'd said, you know. But it's just been playing on my mind, you know, that kind of behaviour. And it's all about me making myself look better, or I could share in another area of that, you know, that low self-esteem and looking for something to quick fixes to that effect. But look, guys, I'm really stoked to be in recovery, and look, it hasn't been easy for me, you know, and I'm not saying it's a glide, but it's a far cry today what I've got going, you know, and I've got a freedom today. I was just sharing with Leo that I have freedom to sort of move around and navigate. You know, I'm pinching someone else shares that stuff, and I love it. I can navigate today into different realms where I never thought possible. You know, I can have experiences today that were just not on the radar. So I'm really thrilled. Great to be here, and thanks everyone for letting me share. Thanks.